All right, let's get it, guys. First fight of the night, we got Marco Medeiros. He's taking on Mark Choinsky. And Medeiros, hopefully we get to see him step in the octagon this week. He was going to fight Balaji Oki, but he said he got sick and it stopped him from being able to be at his optimum and make weight. And I guess the illness didn't linger on that much because he's looking to fight just 7 days later. And hopefully, when he cuts weight this week, everything goes smooth. He doesn't pull out again. But we just kind of broke down Medeiros last week and his style. Athletic guy, he's bouncy. He wants to switch stance, move around, be real evasive, kind of lull you with a lot of feints. And he holds his hands low. So he wants you to throw at him and then he'll pull counter you and he can go in and out really quickly. Pretty good leg kicks, I feel like, and I think in this fight he could work the leg kicks, and I see him throwing knees up the middle in this fight, which are going to make Choinsky a little bit worried about the wrestling. And I do think that Medeiros, though, if you look at him historically, kind of has suspect takedown defense. He's good at using the cage to defend takedowns and get up and has decent clinch work, but when you shoot on his legs, we saw Austin Hubbard take him down fairly easily, and Medeiros has no submission wins. So when you're taking him down, there's not really a threat. You're going to get caught in a submission. He doesn't really have a sweep game or much of anything on bottom. And in this fight, he has to pressure and stay smart, not give up any easy takedowns. And this is a switch up for Medeiros because he's going from fighting a striker without a wrestling threat to now someone that he's going to have to defend takedowns against. But he's the bigger fighter in this matchup. I think obviously it more favors him. But Mark Choinsky, he's not having a fight on Contender Series. He's not having a fight on The Ultimate Fighter. He's getting this short notice jump right into the UFC. And 29 years old, he's 8-0. He's a Rufus Sport fighter, so all those are good things for him. He was also 3-0 as an amateur, so never has lost a fight. But he's only been a pro since 2022, so it hasn't been that long. He has already won and defended a belt in the regional scene in Anthony Pettis FC, and he was getting ready to fight for the 170 title in APFC June 15th, so he has to have been training, and obviously now he's going to have to make the cut back down to 155, which I'm a little surprised that they're making these guys cut. I mean, we just had Medeiros struggle to make the weight, or maybe it really was a illness, but whatever it was, he couldn't make 155 and fight the next day, and Choinsky was getting ready to fight at 70, so I kind of figured they maybe would have fought this one at 70, but it looks like they're going to both have to cut down to 55, so for Choinsky it could be hard because he could have been putting on some size for the 170 fight, and for Medeiros, obviously we're going to have to see how he reacts to another weight cut, but Choinsky, he's a 3-time All-American wrestler, so he knows how to cut weight, and obviously he knows how to wrestle, so he wrestled Division 3, he wasn't really the cream of the crop, but he was one of the best Division 3 wrestlers in the nation from 2017 to 2019, finished third in the national championships in 2019, and he coached wrestling for Rufus Sport too, so it's going to be sharp, and that's his primary weapon probably in this fight. But on the feet, Choinsky has loose hands, and he tries to keep his guard high, dart in, dart out with combinations, and he has a pretty narrow stance, so he slides in and out of range well, and he can crack back with counter punches. Kind of tries to inch in a range and then use the hand speed to land and then get out of dodge. And he stays patient. He's pretty difficult to deal with because if you get too over aggressive, he could take you down. And he's good at not really engaging that much and then doing so on his terms and kind of doing enough to potentially sway around on his favor. But he isn't really powerful or dynamic on the feet, though. And I think he's going to struggle with the kicking game of Medeiros, and he's going to have to figure out how to get on the inside, shut down the kick, shut down the knees up the middle, and make it more of a boxing fight on the feet, and then obviously use his wrestling, which he is a good wrestler, but he doesn't really push the wrestling. He will use his hands and movement, and He's willing to strike, but he gets fighters to come to him, and then when they're looking to box, he will shoot. He has a fast double leg. Top pressure is good. Good ground and pound as well, and he'll float on guys. He'll try to make them move around on bottom, get tired, and he has a good ability to eventually get to the mount or the back, and then he could finish. He has 3 rear naked choke wins, 5 submission wins, but he hasn't been fighting really great competition, so I think his submission rate is a little inflated. But he's a hard fighter to hold down if you do get him down to. I saw John Simon, a guy that he fought, got a couple takedowns on him, but he got back up pretty easily. His conditioning looks good. I feel like he's a solid fighter. He has decent hand speed and footwork and keeps his hands high. Kind of a, in my opinion, low-level version of Christian Rodriguez, but he doesn't have the pressure striking, only the off-the-back foot striking that Rodriguez brings. But then he has better wrestling, and he has been aggressive and effective on top, but this is a massive step up, and I do kind of have questions about Chwinski. For one, I don't know if he's athletic and dynamic enough to fight at the UFC level. He hasn't faced somebody with great striking or kicking ability, and if he can get takedowns and find the finish on Medeiros, then I will believe that, maybe Chwinski has a ability to make a run at 145, 155, wherever he decides to be at. But Medeiros has to be careful here because this is a trap fight, but he should have the more dynamic striking. And I think if he fights smart, maintains distance, lets his shots go, he probably can win. But he's been dealing with health issues. It's going to be another weight cut for him. He's fighting someone who is a better wrestler than he is, and I just don't have confidence in Chwinski to say he's going to beat someone at Medeiros' level without seeing it. But I do think that it's kind of a dog or pass situation here. But I'm going to say it's kind of similar to last week where Oki fought Michael Aswell, and Aswell accounted for himself well, and it went to decision, but he lost. I think it'll be similar to that where maybe Chwinski will get a takedown, he'll win a round, he'll have some moments, but Marco Medeiros will win a decision. So Medeiros is going to be the prediction for me in this fight. And the next fight on the card, we got Killian Salkid. He's taking on Yanel Ishmush, and huge favorite here in Salkid, but I think this is low-key a good fight. I feel like underrated fighter in Yanel Ishmush, but 2 finishers here. Salkid has been making a lot of noise lately. He went on the Contender Series last year. He got 2 successful title defenses of his Eternal MMA belt, which people rate that promotion, Eternal MMA, over there in Australia. And his win on Contender Series was against Gage Young, who's now in the UFC. And then he got a really quick 19-second knockout win in his UFC debut, so that fight couldn't have gotten much better for him. And now he has his sights set on the top 15, but he's going to have to take out an underrated, Ishmush. And Ishmush is a 2-1 fighter in the UFC. 2 pretty solid wins, too. A win over Trevor Peek and another win over Sam Patterson, who's been killing it up at 170 since Ishmush beat him. And his loss was against Chris Duncan, who's 4-1 in 5 UFC fights. So I think Ishmush has an underrated resume, and this is his chance to get that respect he probably feel that he's earned. He's a big underdog, and if he could turn back Salkid, no one's going to be overlooking him anymore, though. But style-wise, this is a drastic style clash with Yanel Ishmush. We have a short, compact, powerful, explosive fighter. He likes to lull guys, pull fighters into his power punches, has good takedowns. He's a little low volume, and he's difficult to hit, whereas Killian Salkid's tall, long, lanky, power hitter. I wouldn't say he's as powerful as Ishmush, but he hits hard, he kicks hard too, and he likes to come forward, throw a lot of offense out. Sometimes he will take damage to give damage, but he's more dangerous on the ground than Ishmush, and he's a lot bigger. And Ishmush has good wrestling himself, though. He'll push guys against the fence. He has good doubles, good trips. And Salkid, I don't know if he is as good of wrestling as Ishmush. That's going to be the story here. I mean, is Salkid going to get put on his back? And And from there, he's usually been good at scrambling and getting in top position. So Ashmush has to be careful. But on top of that, is he going to be able to take Ashmush down? But if he gets on top of Ashmush, I think he's going to have a lot of success. Probably be able to do damage. Get Ashmush kind of compromised for the remainder of the fight, however long it goes after that. And Ashmush, even if he gets takedowns, he's more of a guy that's just looking to lay and pray. We saw that versus Trevor Peek. But I don't think he's going to be able to do Killian in the same way. I feel like he maybe could get some control time, but I think that Salkid, with his length, his scrambling ability, his cardio, and just being more dangerous when he gets top position, is probably not a good idea to really grapple a lot with Salkid. But on the feet, it's going to be interesting because Salkid is long and he's going to be throwing more combinations, more kicks. And with Ashmush, to beat him on the feet, you kind of have to stay long, stick and move, feint your way in, get him to open up, and then counter him because he's always looking to pull you into a strike. He's very loaded on his lead leg, so you can calf kick him. And if you don't move into his range, especially Salkid, he's going to have a huge height and reach advantage. He's going to struggle to land. So I feel like Salkid is still green. I think that the line on him is a little pricey for sure, but I am going to pick him to win here. I think that Ashmush is underrated. I don't know if he'll actually be able to finish Ashmush, but I got Salkid to get the victory on Saturday. And up next on Road to UFC, the UFC 316, we got Jekka Sergey taking on Jusang Yo in this fight. Jusang Yo, UFC debut for him, and South Korean guy's 8-0. He's actually won 11 fights in a row, so rolling right now, but 31 years old, so he's going to have to go in, impress, do the business to really make pay dirt in the UFC. Taking on Jekka Sergey, who's 1-2 so far in 3 UFC fights, kind of up and down and really not UFC level, but he's a fun fighter to watch with knockout power. And Sang Yo, he wants to fake feint, pull you into straights and check hooks, and clean, accurate. He moves well. He's gotten a couple one-punch knockouts with right crosses. And his footwork and ability to move in and out, pull counter, is his defense. So if you could time him, you could probably hurt him, especially a guy like Sergey with power and speed. But Yo puts together good combinations when he backs you to the fence, and then he can kind of just point you at distance and pull you into power shots. And he has really nice ground and pound, nice elbows. He is good at scrambling. I haven't really seen him take guys down, which is the issue. It's more defensive wrestling and then scrambling to top position and going to work. Where in this fight, if he does have offensive wrestling, I think it would be smart for him to mix it in and try to get some takedowns. But Jekka Sergey, wild striker. He's going to move around and kind of stay cocked, ready to land crosses, overhands. He's been able to one-punch multiple guys. And this fight to me is a knockout waiting to happen because Yo is going to be pressuring, trying to draw an offense and counter, and Jekka is going to let him come to him and try to land a big shot over the top. So Jekka is kind of a zero on the ground. He's not going to go for takedowns, and if he does, they're just sloppy wrestling takedowns, or I think that Yo could reverse, get on top, and finish him. So Sergey would be smart to just keep it standing. He got finished by Anshul Jubilee and Weston Wilson on the ground, so that just shows his level there. But either fighter can get put to sleep here, I feel like, but Yo is the better striker and grappler. I think if he gets on top, he should be able to find an easy finish. Jekka's a wild card, but only as a puncher's chance, I feel like. But I think this fight's going to end inside the distance, probably inside of 1 round. And I'm just a little worried about Yo's resume because he went all 3 rounds with some guys that are not really the best. Kind of makes me wonder about his power, but I'll say that he gets a first-round knockout here and is successful in his UFC debut. And we got 13 fights on the card, and this one, kind of like the last one, is one I don't have a ton of interest in, but should be at least entertaining on the feet with Ariane De Silva, Ariane Lipski taking on Wayne Kong, and Lipski, obviously the violence queen, and she goes out there, she wings big shots. She's gotten a lot better with her takedown defense, and when she can keep it standing and pressure you and get her stand up going, she's pretty good. But I don't think she's going to win a kickboxing fight with Kong Wang. She's going to have to rely on Wang making a mistake, getting clipped like she did versus Gabriela Fernandez, because if that doesn't happen, I just think she's going to get styled on. And Lipski, even though she's worked hard on her grappling, I don't think she has the offensive grappling to really pose much of a threat to Kong. I think that Kong can keep it in her wheelhouse, keep it standing, and just kind of batter Lipski up. Lipski also, I feel like at one point maybe she had some momentum and she was creeping towards the upper echelon, had some confidence, but now she's taking some losses again, and I think that Wang is going to be a lot more confident in there and front foot, being aggressive, and she'll be able to win the important moments of the fight and get this decision win here, maybe even a finish. But yeah, give me Wang in this one to win the fight. And up next here, this fight's going to be insanity if you ask me. Chaos Williams versus Andreas Gustafsson. The way Andreas Gustafsson fights, if this fight doesn't end up in a finish, I'll just be super shocked, because at range, he doesn't have anything for Chaos. And it's not like Chaos is an excellent striker at distance, but the guy has super long arms. He's really fast, and if he lands clean, he's going to knock you out. He's been sharpening his boxing. But Gustafsson's going to try to close the distance and make it that Greco-Roman clinch fest, knees, elbow battle that he loves to have, and just make it a complete war and try to break Chaos. And Chaos can have so many chances, though, to catch him coming in, knock him out. And I don't think that Gustafsson necessarily has the wrestling to take Williams down and hold him down and beat him up on the ground in that manner. I think it's going to be more cage wrestling and trying to get Chaos tired and then finishing him off. I just don't really have a great read on this one, or like a big technical breakdown. It's a short notice matchup. Gustafsson was supposed to fight last week. His opponent wasn't able to make it, and then Chaos Williams had another opponent that pulled out himself, so it just worked out where they matched up against each other. I've never really been that good at picking Chaos fights. He fights infrequently. I feel like he has good intangibles, like great cardio. He's durable and strong, and he has big power, but I don't know how skilled he really is. I know he's getting better, but when you look at Gustafsson, UFC debut, really wild, raw kind of guy that goes out there and just tries to make it a brawl, and he's facing a super heavy hitter. So I'm just leaning towards the UFC vet, and I'm going to go with Chaos first round knockout. And next fight we got on the card, we got a heavyweight fight. Actually a pretty decent fight here with Sergey Spivak taking on Waldo Cortez Acosta. And Spivak, he is the established top 15 guy, but he's coming off a loss to Jonathan Almeida, where he actually had some good moments, but still got finished in the first round. And Waldo Cortez Acosta has been fighting lower level opposition, but he's won 4 fights in a row. So this is Waldo's chance to break into the top 15, top 10 of the division and see how he does there. But big step up, and I think that there's too many question marks regarding Waldo's grappling to really pick him here. But at the same time, I get the line being close, because Sergey Spivak seems like he's one of these guys where if he can't get the takedown on you and you could pressure him in box, feint, open him up, go to the body, he'll just quit a little bit, and he tends to shell up. And I feel like Waldo, with good boxing, good pressure, being the more athletic guy, being a little faster, could maybe get off with some body shots, get Sergey tired. If he could defend a takedown or two, then maybe he could win the fight. But Sergey is a lot better than people give him credit for with his hands. I feel like his jab is good. And if he could just get in the clinch at all, I think he's going to have such a big advantage in the clinch with his trips, with his throws. He's going to find the takedowns. He's going to be able to get on top. And from there, I think he's going to have a major advantage. His ground and pound versus Jailton Almeida was nasty, man. I mean, he was really beating Almeida up pretty good. Obviously, he got swept and reversed, but if he puts Waldo on his back, he's going to be able to dominate. And even on bottom, I mean, Spivak was able to hit that armbar on Tybura. So on the ground, he should be levels above Waldo. It's just if Waldo can defend some takedowns, keep it standing, go to the body a little bit, Sergey could get tired, and then Waldo could beat him in a striking fight or maybe finish him late. But Waldo isn't really the most powerful guy. I think that his inexperience is going to show here, and I think Sergey's going to hit some takedowns. And if Sergey can get on top even early, he could do damage and make Waldo less effective and just less willing to throw for the remainder of the fight. So I'm going to go with Spivak here to get the win. And I don't know if it'll be a later round finish or decision, but my prediction is Sergey Spivak. And up next, I love this fight, man. We got Azamat Murzakanov. He's going to be taking on Brenson Ribeiro. We got a skyscraper in there and Brenson Ribeiro, who keeps everything straight, throws right down the middle, taking on a super short, compact guy for light heavyweight with a 10-inch reach advantage for Ribeiro, or 9.5 inches. I mean, pretty crazy. But at the same time, Azamat, he has no problem getting on the inside and beating these big guys up. We've seen it time and time again. He's on a long win streak. He's actually never lost in his MMA career in general at 14-0. But in the UFC, I believe he's won like 7 fights in a row. And Brenson Ribeiro came into the UFC and has looked good, 3-1. His one loss is a split decision. And his last fight, he got an upset. He got a Kimura finish, so he showed his danger factor on the ground. And then he's also had a couple knockouts with his hands on the feet. So he's dangerous everywhere, and he's athletic and big. But UFC slow rolling Murzakanov a bit, and I don't really get it. I mean, the one off you have, or one of the few you have that are super entertaining, that throws down, that is crazy power, you don't want to push. But I guess he was going to fight Johnny Walker. Even then, I still feel like he deserves a top 5 opponent. But you look at how these guys match up, it's an interesting fight because Ribeiro is going to have the ability to maybe double leg him or put him in the clinch and lean on him, wear on him, try to get him tired. And that's been the one knock that you can have on Murzakanov. On the feet, the guy's southpaw. He is just so good at getting on the inside, getting you in the pocket and then slipping and ripping. And he has crazy power, crazy hand speed, elite accuracy, and he could knock you out or he could drop you multiple times and root to a decision victory. And his kicks are good. He's just a really clean, dangerous striker. Nasty combinations, elite speed, and then he's coming with that southpaw style, which is a little tricky. And his footwork is really good. Whereas with Ribeiro, it's more just 1-2s down the middle, and he will throw some kicks, but his grappling, he could have an advantage there. But, you know, I don't know if he's going to be able to take down Murzakanov or really get him where he could submit him or get into an advantageous position like that. The only way I could see Ribeiro winning is landing a big cross down the middle. I mean, he does have the knockout power to catch and put Murzakanov out. Or if Murzakanov gets tired, then maybe Ribeiro could capitalize off that. But I just think Murzakanov's the real deal, man. And you look at Ribeiro's career, he got knocked out in the first round by Ming Yang Zhang. He's willing to go in there, get in the pocket, and kind of brawl a little bit. He'll leave his chin high. And if Murzakanov could touch your chin, I think he could knock you out. And you've seen Ribeiro get knocked out, I believe, 4 times in his MMA career. So he's the less durable guy in a gunfight here. And I think that Murzakanov is going to be able to get that first round knockout. And closing out the prelims, we got another banger with Bruno Silva taking on Josh Van. And one of the older flyweights taking on one of the younger flyweights in the UFC. But both these guys normally like to stand and bang. Bruno should have a big advantage on the ground, and he has decent wrestling, but Josh Van, recently, you know, with the wins over Ray Saruya, the win over Cody Durden, he's shown that his grappling defense, his wrestling defense is growing exponentially every fight, and I don't see Bruno Silva having success with the wrestling, and he probably feels he won't. So I imagine he's going to try to keep it standing. If he does mix in takedowns, I think it'll be early, him trying to get the takedowns, and then if he can't do it, he'll settle into the striking. But the main thing I don't like for Bruno coming into this fight is how short of a turnaround he's had since the Kate fight. I get it's been, 5-6 months, but he took some insane damage in that one. He did get finished in kind of an odd way where it did look like it was a groin shot, and then he got TKO'd after that, but he took a lot of damage throughout the entire fight, and Josh Van's going to be coming and throwing heat the whole time. So Bruno Silva, he has power and he has the ability to pull guys into his shots, like we saw with the Durden fight. He knocked him out with one shot after he was kind of getting dominated a little bit. But he doesn't have the striking and the boxing acumen to compete with Josh Van at that level. Van is going to be coming to the body, to the head, throwing nasty combinations. He's really good at slipping and ripping and returning right away with multiple strikes, and he just stays in your face and has undying cardio and an elite amount of volume. So Bruno's going to have to just catch him with a one-shot uppercut or something big and just knock him out like we saw him do Cody Durden and like we saw Charles Johnson do to Van. But if he can't catch him with that one-hitter quitter, he's just going to get overwhelmed. And he is extremely durable. Like I said, his last fight he got TKO'd, but it was a little bit of a controversial stoppage. And I could see him taking a 3-round whooping or getting stopped late. I mean, Van's been going the distance recently. So I will say Bruno could survive all 3 rounds, and it'll be Van via decision. But Josh Van's one of my more confident predictions on this card. And up next here, we got 2 vets. We got Vicente Luque taking on Kevin Holland. And with Luque, we got an ultra-composed fighter. He's a striker, but also has an excellent submission game. And everyone kind of knows how he fights, but he's a plotter, high guard. He blocks a lot of shots on the arms. He tries to cut the cage off and then work the calf kicks. He has a good ability to kind of just touch with jabs, straights, round kicks, and then sit down on power shots when he has you backed up near the fence. Nice check hooks. His knees, his elbows on the inside are nasty. And if you stand in front of Luque, he will chop you down. But, on top of that, he'll choke you out as well. He has the most Darce choke wins in UFC history. He has 14 finishes. But more recently, he's kind of struggled with his durability, and he has issues with guys that can pull him into power shots. He doesn't have great footwork or foot speed, and he doesn't move his head off center line or really use much lateral movement forward and backwards all the time, and he relies on keeping his guard high and absorbing shots rather than moving his head. And he's been able to take a ton of damage during his UFC career and outlast fighters and barn burners, but he had a really bad head trauma injury after his Jeff Neal knockout loss, and then a weird fight versus Buckley. His last fight, he got a 52-second finish where didn't really tell us much about his ability to take damage. But yeah, Kevin Holland, super long, lanky guy, awkward. Defensively, I mean, you'll see him shoulder roll a lot, which you don't really see too often. He'll even turn his back almost to guys. But he's super good at kind of just rolling, making fighters hit his shoulder. Leg kicks and body kicks are going to be what Luque has to use here, I feel like, and body punches. And Holland has to be ready to move, check kicks, and I feel like his offense is going to be difficult for Luque, though. He throws really nice shots up the middle, mixes in some really crazy kicks, super fast, powerful, and Holland is good at peppering you with jabs, side kicks, front kicks, round kicks, waits for fighters to overextend or kind of stand in front of him, and then he'll put that power right hand on him. And he has the ability to switch, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Holland in southpaw for portions of this fight, since you've seen Luque have trouble with southpaws. And Holland has a huge durability advantage here. Super hard defense with strikes, and defensively I feel like he's going to be good in this fight outside of low kicks. But he has to land significant strikes or knock Luque out, or it could be close in the cards, because a lot of times Holland's volume could miss or not be that impactful. And he could make fights kind of close. But I don't really see him having to deal with many takedowns here. That's obviously been his kryptonite. He doesn't want to be in a front headlock spot with Luque, but besides that, I think he'll be able to be fine in the grappling spot. At space, Holland is going to be way too hard to land on, and outside of low kicks, I think that he's going to dominate at range with volume, and he's more durable and tricky, and I think he's going to connect on Luque, hurt him, and then knock him out. Holland is a finisher. If he hurts you, he's not going to let you off the hook normally. I think he has to be a little bit more aggressive and stay in the pocket and throw back hard in this fight because Luque is going to be there to hit. And I could see a front kick to the face, a knee, an uppercut, another one of the straight right, straight lefts that he throws. And I just think he's going to find that kill shot. I think he seems a little more focused, and I like him more at 170 for sure. So give me Holland here. I'll say second round knockout. And this next fight, this is one of the more talked about fights on this card, with Patchy Mix making his UFC debut. He's going to be taking on Mario Bautista, and it's going to be a bit of an appetizer for the main event because Sean O'Malley and Merab Dvalishvili both train with these guys, with Mario training at the MMA Lab, Patchy Mix training at Extreme Couture, and obviously it's an extremely pivotal fight at 135 pounds. Mario was originally slated to fight Marlon Vera, but Vera pulled out, which made way for Patchy to get signed to the UFC and then get into this fight, which you could argue is even more intriguing. And it's an amazing matchup. I think a decent matchup for Mario Bautista as well. You know, Patchy has all the hype coming in here, and for good reason. But you can make an argument he lost his last fight, and Mario's been rolling. As far as how they match up, you know, Patchy, long and lanky southpaw, serviceable striker. He has an anaconda-like grappling skills, but plots forward. I wouldn't say he has the best footwork, but he's long and he'll shoot the jab out there. He'll throw 1-2s, check hooks, knees up the middle. His knees are dangerous, and he has good kicks. I think leg kicks for Mix should be something that he tries to use here on the feet. He has power. He has a chin. Defensively, he's hittable, though, and I think Mario, who is a switch stance hitter, has good footwork, good movement, is going to be able to land shots over the top of Patchy Mix's jab. And Mario has to use footwork on the feet, which, in my opinion, he's good at fighting moving forward or backwards, which is beneficial for him in this matchup. Going forward and using his feints and counters over the top to manipulate range is what I think he wants to do in this fight, but he also has the ability to let Mix come to him and land over the top that way too. But countering Mix's jab and maintaining the center is his ticket to winning this fight. Magomedov was landing clean strikes on Mix in his last fight. He gave him a lot of problems, and I think that Mario could do the same on the feet. But Mario Bautista, he likes to mix in takedowns to gas guys, and his wrestling is good, but he should not wrestle here. Mix is so good at jumping on the guillotine and just creating scrambles, finding the back, finding a dominant position, staying connected to you. He's Aljo-esque in that sense, and he has a similar framed Aljo for the weight division, which is really helpful for him. And if Mix gets your back, he's incredible. He has some of the best setups for chokes, and he's just nasty. And Mario should just try not to engage in the grappling, not get backed up to the fence. In the center, I think he should be able to defend the takedowns. And even against the cage, I think Mario could get away too, but he just doesn't want to be there in the first place. And for Bautista, the guy has tremendous cardio, so I don't see him getting tired. And Patchy Mix isn't going to gas either. If Mix can get to a dominant position in round one, he can't submit anyone. And if he doesn't get the early submission, though, I kind of like the underdog Mario Bautista here. Patchy hasn't fought in a long time. Arguably lost his last fight. He's a ton of pressure on him here. Mario is being overlooked and disrespected, I feel like, and I think he could Patchy up and win a decision. He's 10th in the world. He's currently on a 7-fight win streak. Hasn't lost in 4 years, and I just feel like he's getting disrespected here. I mean, I get Patchy, 20-1, former Bellator champion. He's beaten guys like Kyoji Horiguchi, Rafael Stad, Sergio Pettis, Magomedov recently, but he's made a lot of money, and this fight is short notice. It's a hard matchup against a relatively, disliked, unknown kind of name to the mainstream. So Mix is taking a big risk here, and I think he might be overlooking Mario a little bit. Just happy to get a fight date after being out for a long time, and I think Mario could use that game plan of controlling the center, not getting back near the fence. When he gets attempted takedowns on him, defend those, keep it standing, and just come with shots over the top. Use your speed, use your stance switching, use your footwork, and I think you can outbox Patchy Mix and win a decision here. So, Mario Bautista, I'm going to go with him to get this upset victory. And in this next one here, we got Kelvin Gastelum. He's taking on Joe Pyfer in this fight. And this fight obviously is supposed to go down in Mexico, and Joe Pyfer, he had his comments, and they're trying to make that more than what it is. You could tell Kelvin doesn't give a fuck. Like, they're trying to make it a story, but, whatever. But as far as the fight goes, I'm not sold on Joe Pyfer, man. I went back and watched his fight with Jack Hermanson again, and I'm not sure how tough this guy really is. Like, it seemed like when he started to get hit, he took that first jab in round 3, and when the tide started to turn, it's like Hermanson really put it on him, and Pyfer's going to have a big chance to get the knockout here. I mean, he's way bigger than Kelvin. He has that 3-2. That's really all he throws is the 3-2, and you'll throw some big power kicks, but he's not like a super technical or skillful striker. He just sits in front of you. He's explosive. He has good speed and then extreme power, and he's throwing that big 3-2 or 2-3, and he's trying to take your head off with it every time. And he's gotten a lot of early finishes. Like his last fight, he got the quick knockout win over Marc-Andre Barriault, and a lot of his fights have gone down that way. And Kelvin, he obviously is known for having a legendary chin. No one's been able to put him down and knock him out. And he should have the more skillful boxing. Like, he's southpaw. If he can get on the inside and mix in combinations and then maybe find a takedown, then I could see Kelvin doing really well and doing a lot better than the bookies and the odds makers indicate on the line in the stand-up, especially if he can mix in the takedowns. I know he's been working with Pat Downey as well. He's a really good wrestler, and you saw in his fight with Daniel Rodriguez, he got a takedown in the second, got a takedown in the third, and if Joe Pyfer's a little tired and Kelvin could double leg him and put him on his back in round 2, that could lead to a victory for Kelvin with an exhausted Pyfer in the third round in front of him. And for Pyfer, though, you could argue that maybe he should go for the double leg, man. I mean, the guy is an incredible double, and if he gets on top of Kelvin, we've seen time and time again these bigger guys have been able to submit Kelvin or beat him up on the ground. But Joe Pyfer, he likes to stand and bang, and I think he believes in his power. I think he wants to get the knockout here and wants to make a statement, and that could be a bad game plan, because if he goes out there and early on Kelvin is getting on the inside, landing some on him, and maybe Pyfer's landing the heavier shots and winning, but he can't get Kelvin out of there, I could see Kelvin kind of starting to take over and steal this fight, get the momentum, and get the victory here. And Pyfer, his last fight, he came back out a 19-second knockout, so what are you really going to learn out of that? It's hard to know exactly how he would have been if he faced adversity in that one. And he hasn't had any really great wins. I'm going to lean with Kelvin here. I know it's kind of a wild card pick here. Maybe a lot of people will disagree, but I'm going to say Kelvin wins this fight via decision. And in the co-main event, we got the fight kind of pooling this card, at least promotion-wise, with the champion Juliana Pena defending her belt against Kayla Harrison. It's going to be the second time that Juliana Pena is going to be looking to defend her UFC title. She's won it twice. She's yet to defend it the first time. Obviously, Amanda Nunes came back, got the belt back after Pena beat her the first time. Now she's coming off that win over Rocky Pennington for her second UFC title victory. And she's a huge underdog, though, one of the biggest underdogs as an incumbent champion in UFC history, Kayla Harrison is almost a 10-1 favorite. So I think that's pretty disrespectful. And Juliana Pena, I mean, she's someone that's never really gotten that love from the fans. You know, I feel like even when she beat Amanda Nunes, a lot of people were talking about how it's potentially fixed and the submission looked fake and all this stuff. So even when she was winning, or when she won the belt, they tried to discredit the victory. And her fight style is really awkward. You know, some people like her mic skills, some people don't. So I think she turns a lot of people off in that way. But you got to give this girl credit eventually, man. I mean, she is one of the original bantamweights where they came into the UFC through the Ultimate Fighter. She won the Ultimate Fighter. Took her almost 10 years, maybe over 10 years to get a UFC title shot. And when she got her title shot, she didn't miss, man. I mean, she got one of the biggest upsets in UFC history. Lost and then was able to come back and reclaim the belt. Obviously, didn't get the third Amanda fight that she wanted, but won it against Rocky. And now she's getting mega disrespected again against Kayla Harrison, who has all the hype coming in here. Harrison, you know, 2-time Olympic gold medalist in judo. She's ran through almost everyone she's fought in MMA. Her one loss to Larissa Pacheco. She has 2 wins over Pacheco, so she's beaten every single fighter that she's stepped in the cage with. And in the UFC, her last fight, you know, it wasn't super impressive to me. I mean, Ketlen Vieira is a great fighter, and she proved that once again with a pretty dominant win over Macy Chiasson last week. But it was arguably 1-1 going into round 3, and Kayla was able to dominate the third round and get the victory. But it wasn't like she ran Ketlen out of the water and justified being such a ginormous favorite versus Ketlen. And honestly, I mean, If you know the channel, you know that I've always picked Julie in like all her fights, and I don't know if I've ever picked against her in any fight on the channel. So this is a tough prediction for me because I do think that this fight it's way closer than the odds makers are giving it credit for. Because on the feet, you could say what you want in terms of Pena's striking is really ugly. She's leaving a lot of openings, and Kayla does honestly look probably smoother. I mean, she's gotten a lot better with her footwork, Harrison, and she bounces well. She's throwing a lot of feints. She could throw nice single strikes, but her striking sucks, man. I mean, she doesn't have a lot of power, and it seems like when you extend combinations and you can stay in the pocket and counter on her, she's very, very hittable, but man, I mean, she's just going to level change and take you down, and that's the problem because you're not going to be able to get into a striking rhythm when you're put on your back continuously throughout the fight. And Kayla Harrison not only has the judo with the takedowns in the clinch, and she's obviously gigantic. I mean, she's someone that fought at 155, and it takes a lot of work for her to cut down to 135 to make this weight. She could bully girls in the clinch, but she also has an explosive double leg, which really gives her a big advantage because she could take you down in the center of the cage or against the fence, and it makes her very hard to strike and deal with. Ketlen was able to kind of get underhooks and then defend against the cage pretty well for portions of the fight, but one thing with Juliana is she doesn't have the best takedown defense. I do think that she's going to get taken down. But on the feet here, I got Juliana all day. I just think that she's going to be able to land those wild counter strikes that she throws. I think that she's going to be crouched. She's going to be very patient, waiting for Kayla to come to her. And whenever Kayla throws something, she's going to try to return with multiple strikes and get Kayla to shoot a bad takedown and then maybe sprawl on her, try to get on top or whatever she could do to get it into the best position for herself. But on the feet, I feel like Pena could have the edge, especially if the fight starts to get longer or if it becomes more of a dogfight, because What type of experience does Kayla have in a wild striking fight on the feet? I mean, I would say virtually zero. If she starts to get hit, maybe her eye gets closed and they're brawling in the stand up and Kayla kind of forgets the takedown. Hey, I mean, we could see Julie pull something off in the stand up. So I think that on the feet, Julie has the edge, but she's going to get taken down. And Pena, she's good at shooting submissions up off her back. She's going to be very active. And I don't think that Kayla is really going to do a ton of damage or be able to submit Juliana, but I think she's going to be able to hold her down relatively easily. Juliana does give her back to stand up, which is going to give Kayla that ability to take the back and probably win a couple rounds that way too, or kind of just wrist ride and just control Pena's back without having the hooks in. But I feel like Pena is going to have a chance to get a submission here. That's going to be her path to victory. If she could use a front choke to sweep into top position or catch an armbar, catch a triangle off her back, you could see Juliana Pena tapping out Kayla Harrison and still. And I think on the feet, she has the ability to hurt Kayla and maybe get her out of there as well. So I think Juliana has multiple avenues to victory, and she should be like a plus 250, plus 300, not wherever she is now. But ultimately, you watch her fight with Amanda, the second fight, she just could not stop the takedown in the later rounds. And if Kayla could take her down and just lay on her, just like Juliana's been saying, I mean, are you going to beat me by laying on me for 25 minutes? I think that maybe could happen. And it would be boring and kind of ho-hum. And Julie could be throwing up a lot of offense off her back that's ineffective. And Kayla's little elbows and punches are going to be enough. Maybe a back take or two. But I don't think she's going to go in here and just destroy Juliana or anything like that, finish her. Juliana has been submitted a couple times, but a lot of times she's been submitted, it's usually when she's dominating the fight and then she falls asleep and gets caught, like in a guillotine, or I remember she took down Valentina armbarred her, so I don't think it's going to be that type of situation with Kayla where she's going to loosen up and give that up, but yeah, it's going to be interesting, man, to see how Kayla does 5 rounds. We've seen her go 5 rounds pretty hard, so she did get tired in that third fight versus Pacheco, but she still did a pretty good job, honestly. And if she's able to go 5 rounds hard at this weight, she's probably going to be able to wrestle Juliana for 5 rounds and win this fight. So I'm going to begrudgingly pick Kayla by decision. And yeah, I'm going to say and new Kayla Harrison. And finally, we got the main event. We got a rematch between Merab Dvalishvili. He's going to be taking on Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley getting an immediate title fight after his loss to Merab the first time, trying to get his belt back. I think that the UFC obviously sees star power in Sean, but they took into account that he had the torn labrum as well, and they're giving him another shot here. But I mean, I don't know how much that matters, man. I mean, Merab dominated him, and I think O'Malley's path to victory is the exact same as it was the first time that these two fought, which is landing that kill shot knockout. And I think early on he has to go for it. First round, man, because you watch Merab's fights, like the fight versus Umar, even the first fight versus Sean, the first 3 minutes of the fight, he's getting lit up sometimes. Like, he's a slow starter, and if Sean could capitalize on that early and, really hurt Merab or put his lights out, we could see Sean get that first round finish. But, man, it seems like whenever Sean tried to go forward in the first fight, he got taken down so easily. And it's a different matchup than like an Aljo, where Aljo's usually the taller, longer guy. He's someone that likes to throw a lot of kicks on the outside, kind of keep you at bay, get you to come to him or feint you from the outside, and then he could shoot on you when you're against the fence. Or and he's not like a explosive double leg or anything like that. Whereas with Merab, he's bouncing around in and out. You don't really know when he's going to close the distance. He's good on the outside, and he has no issues getting on the inside, and he's not going to throw that much. It's not like he's going to be out there throwing a lot of volume, opening up. He's going to be moving a lot in and out, being really defensive, and then he's going to be waiting for Sean to come forward so he could take him down, catch a kick, put him on his back, or when Sean overextends, timing that and taking him down, or he's going to pressure Sean, come over the top with punches, land on him, and then use that to shoot on his legs and get him down that way. So I don't know. Torn labrum, no torn labrum. O'Malley, he always tends to fight off the back foot. He's going to try to pull you into the power. And unless he could time Merab and really knock him out, I just think that Merab is going to be able to do the same thing that he did in the first fight, is establish the takedowns, use that to get Sean tired, get him moving less, and then land punches over the top. And the one thing that Merab can't do in this fight is just lose focus or feel like O'Malley's not dangerous in there, because the first fight, 25 minutes with him, he didn't really take much damage. If he goes out here early and he's messing around on the feet, or he's letting Sean, get off a little bit more than he should, maybe Sean could, find that lightning strike and put him out. So Merab just has to be on high alert, know that he can get knocked out by this guy. And I think if he can get out of the first round, if he can get a couple takedowns, then the fight's going to start snowballing his way. So I just got to go with Merab again. I've been picking Merab as an underdog in these fights, and now he's a big favorite, though. So I don't like that in terms of betting on him or my money. I mean, him at those odds, I think minus 275, it's definitely a little wide. I mean, the first time these guys fought, it was a pick 'em. Maybe you could justify Merab being like a minus 200, but I don't know. I don't like the line where he's at. His last fight, he was plus 215. That was a great time to bet on Merab and capitalize, which if you're on the Patreon, you were able to do. And but this fight, I'm not sure that he's really worth a bet. Maybe throw him in some parlays and you can cash out if you're towards the end, or if you're confident you could let it ride. But yeah, man. There's the full card predictions breakdowns. I'm going to say Merab via decision in the main event. So that's the main event prediction. I just think he's going to be able to dominate, kind of replicate a similar performance that he did last time. And as far as my most confident pick on this card, for the most confident pick, I guess I'll go with Joshua Van for that. And for the parlay of the week this week, or the play of the week, I'll just say to do a play on Mario Bautista. I like Mario Bautista this week to get the victory, and that's going to be the play of the week for me. So hit the like button, guys. I didn't say that at the top of the video, so hopefully I still get a decent amount of likes. I try to get 100 likes, as many likes as possible. Put a comment down below. Share this video. I'm going to be doing a live stream tomorrow with Fitz and Billy Briz. We're going to be breaking down this full card from more betting perspective, get you guys a couple different opinions, some banter. So come talk in the chat tomorrow. It'd be fun to hear from some of you guys and get some interaction on that video. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching this, and I'm going to be back soon breaking another fight card. See you guys later. Peace out.